You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I'm your host, Kelvin, and with me today is Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Calvin.
How's it going over in Boston?
Oh, my Lord. I get a little bit of a, well, I was going to say suntan, but that's a little bit of a lie. I get a little bit of a sunburn yesterday, and I'm all aloed up, and it's even going to be much hotter today. The plan was originally to go to the beach, but I'm kind of glad we're recording instead, because had I gone back to the beach, by Monday I'd be blistered. So this is good. I'm staying indoors, getting a little bit of a breeze. This is good.
Avoiding dermal dysplasia, as Tuvok would call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've got some fantastic weather here in the UK at the moment. We're having a little bit of a mini heat wave. So exactly the same for us. I was in the garden yesterday doing all of the chores, and it was beautiful weather. So yeah, summer has arrived.
Summer has arrived, and today we'll be taking a shore leave.
Indeed, I like what you've done there. So it's nice to be back. Speaking of shore leave, I've had a couple of weeks away. May is such a super busy month for me, with my birthday, anniversary, Eurovision, and then thrown into the mix this year. It was mine and James's 10-year anniversary, so we took a little mini break over to Gran Canaria in the Canary Islands for a little romantic getaway. So apologies, I've not been here for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's all right. I've been sort of mentally out of it the last couple of weeks. I don't know if our listeners noticed. Probably not. I'm usually a little out of it, but no, I've been working on Cinema Z quite a lot. I've been doing a lot of the the editing for it, script, and sort of building the show to what it's going to be. We want to have a few episodes in the can before we get up and running, and so I've just been doing a lot of work on that. And so every time All Good Things rolls around, I'm like, oh yeah, my real other podcasting.
I know you've been preoccupied, because the episode outline was only actually added a few hours ago, early this morning. It's not like Mark to be prodding us with the finger saying, where's the homework?
Oops.
We're all ready. We are running late but sounding great. Right. Okay, I think it might be time for a little bit of All Good Worlds then, Mark.
Oh yes. Now it's time for All Good World.
From Las Vegas to Boston, USA to Canada and South America, from the United Kingdom to South Africa, from Russia to Australia, the South Pacific and beyond. This is All Good World.
Each episode we highlight a different location around the globe where this podcast has reached. Today's episode, we'd love to give a special shout out to Peru. Fun fact, the name of the country may be derived from Biru, the name of a local ruler who lived near the Bay of San Miguel, Panama City, in the early 16th century. Spanish conquistadors who arrived in 1522 believed this was the southernmost part of the New World. When Francisco Pizarro invaded the regions farther south, they came to be designated Biru or Peru. Also, fun fact, probably all of the listens we've got are from my good friend, Ronald Rios, who I used to work with for a very long time at my previous job, and we're still in touch. And right now he is actually down there with his family. He's been down there for a number of months now, and I keep seeing pictures on his Instagram, and it's like the most gorgeous pictures ever. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to go to Peru. Like, I'm telling you, Calvin. So his gym. So he does like gym photos.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, what's his name again? I'll write this down.
Renal. And his gym photos, he's like on a cliffside with like all glass, floor to ceiling, and the glass looks out over this cliffs in this amazing like turquoise waters and like tropical beach. And I'm like, this looks like one of those backgrounds that you'd get free with like Zoom of like fake places, but this is an actual place, and he's going there like every day, taking workout photos. And I'm like, wow. I am so incredibly jealous, and I just need to get my butt to Peru.
Although I will add, in a professional capacity, wall-to-floor glass in a gym is a health and safety hazard with all them free weights being thrown around. So safety, beautiful scenery, great. Safety first, everybody. Safety first.
Thanks for that. Somebody might get distracted and walk through the glass if they see somebody cute too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Shall we move on to today's topic, Mark?
Yeah, it's getting warmer in here, and we don't need that.
Absolutely. So today we are continuing our Shore Leave series with the part 3. Previously covered, we've had the original series titled Shore Leave and Enterprises, 2 days and 2 nights. So today we are continuing with a late season 2 episode of Lower Decks, Wej Duj, which we should all know is Klingon for 3 ships. Apologies if I've just spoiled a trivia piece there, but that's the translation into English anyway. So what happens in the episode, for those of us who cannot remember based on the title alone, this is the episode where the Cerritos and the crew arrive early for a mission, so they go on shore leave. And our favourite characters all buddy up with a bridge buddy to do some recreational activities, hence the falling into this shore leave series. But also, the episode focuses on a Klingon ship and a Vulcan ship, and we get to meet the lower decks crew of those respective vessels. The peril in the episode includes a plot with the Klingons and the Packlids requiring all 3 of the ships to kind of come together to spoil the Packlids' attack. So, Mark, what did you think of the episode? Any initial thoughts before we get into our topic?
I was so relieved. I don't know if you guys remember last week. Well, actually, you weren't. Were you on last week, Kelvin?
No, I was off.
Yeah, we had a discussion at the end about this episode, and I did not remember it. I knew I put it in the shore leave list, but Amy gave the little synopsis, and when she gave the synopsis, I was like, oh crap, I don't know if this is actually a shore leave episode. And I was very relieved to find, I mean, it kind of is. Yeah, we'll call it short. They didn't go on a planet, which is the typical, but that's fine. It still counts. They
have the morning off work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch at all. I think it's very much a shore leave episode. And what a fantastic episode. The end of season 2 of Lower Decks, they were on a really good roll of episodes. You had the Vindicta holodeck episode, you had the I Excretus, and then immediately followed by this as the penultimate episode for season 2. And I as much as I love season 3, I think this specific period so far here is where Lower Decks was really at its peak. I think it really found itself here. Right. So one of the things I wanted to kind of discuss with you, Mark, in this episode is the amount of cultural stereotyping that we got here when you look at the Federation environment, the Klingon ship, and the Vulcan ship. And I just kind of wanted to explore that. Star Trek over the years have really tried its best to move away from this concept of all Romulans are treacherous, all Ferengi are greedy. But then this episode is all about embracing those stereotypes of, in particular, the Vulcans and the Klingons. So is it appropriate? Do you think Star Trek took a step back, or was it all in good fun?
I have to disagree because, yes, I disagree that it's this episode. It's Lower Decks. Lower Decks uses cultural stereotypes for the aliens in just about every episode of Lower Decks from the very get-go. With the the first episode is what comes to mind, and Mariner has the batleth, and she's like, you'll be my Chadich, ma, and she hits Boimler with the batleth and cuts his leg open and all that. They have always battle honor, rah, in the Ferengi with the humans and the fingers, in whatever episode that was where they were being scheming. I think that they do it quite a bit, but it's to be punchy with the humor. And I think that out of all of the places in Trek, it actually, if they're going to do it, it belongs in Lower Decks, because it just really drives home the jokes, and the audience is in on it, because we've had 57 years now of Star Trek, and we're like, the Klingons are warlike. Yeah, we know that Pakleds are dumb. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I suppose
it helps move the jokes.
Yeah, Lower Decks is very much a safe space for this kind of humor, I guess. So if this was an episode of Strange New Worlds, maybe it would land a little bit differently, maybe.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be moving the ball forward.
I remember even towards the late episodes of DS9, when they would casually throw the word honor into literally every conversation with a Klingon. I think there was even some in-jokes with Worf telling Ezri off for using the word honor, saying it was so predictable. So great. Okay, another aspect of this episode was the little clique that formed in Ransom's group, with everyone pretending to be from Hawaii. And throughout the course of the episode, when it was kind of outed that they weren't really from Hawaii, everyone was doing the same as Boimler. There was actually some reference in the dialogue of saying, do you have any idea how culturally inappropriate this is? And I just actually wanted to ask the question, is there something specific about Hawaii or pretending to be from Hawaii that made that inappropriate? I didn't get why they made a deal of it.
Christos!
I exactly. Where is he? Our adopted Hawaiian
so I think that the culture, quote unquote, and this again, I'm not the expert that Christos would be, but I am American, and Hawaii is American. I would say that the cultural, quote unquote, references and appropriation of Hawaiian culture is mostly white people Hawaiian. They weren't culturally appropriating native Hawaiian symbolism or cultural things, rituals and whatnot. I didn't see them, I don't know, maybe making leis or... I see. I'm not the expert, but doing the dances around the fire kind of stuff, the music. There is a culture there. There's food. It's a very Hawaiian culture is a very rich and very ancient culture. But they didn't tread on that, as far as I know. They were just talking about surfing and that kind of thing, like the white people that moved over to the island kind of shit.
Yeah, it was surfing, sunbathing, and drinking Mai Tais, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And that concept of a clique in itself, it is so funny because it makes you reflect. Have you ever been kind of excluded from a group at work or something because you weren't particularly into an activity, or have you faked it like these guys did so that you fit in with colleagues a little bit more?
Oh, I'm sadly not that good of an actor. You should check out Cinema Z. We've been doing skits. Anyway.
Plug, he's plugging.
So, yeah, I've I don't know if I've ever been part of like a clique, so to speak. Usually the people I end up with are the people that get rejected from all the other cliques. And I'm totally fine with that, because I'm with the misfit toys, the free thinkers, that we don't fit in any kind of a box. And I love that. So F the cliques.
Oh, I love it. I used to always call out when I was I sat on the board of directors in my previous role, and clearly it was a very male environment, straight white man, and they'd all start talking about football, and I just
Lord.
kind of really shut them down, saying, hello, gay in the room. We don't do that. So, and I would just say, did everyone watch RuPaul's Drag Race this week? And then that brought them back into the room saying, oh, we're all talking about football and Kelvin feels uncomfortable.
Oh, somebody in my office the other day asked me, they're like, oh, did you watch see, I can't even think of it. Sports Ball X game that happened recently. And it was a local team. I don't even remember whatever they were talking about. One of the Boston sports. They were like, oh, did you watch X? Well, it couldn't have been hockey. So it wasn't a Bruins game. Anyway. And I was like, what did I say? I said, the only time I watch sports is when it's the men's Olympic swimming. And occasionally I'll put on the wrestling.
WWE.
Yeah, the WWE. Like, I'll find myself lingering on that channel for whatever reason. But yeah, that's about it.
I bet they love that.
Oh yeah, I got some chuckles, which was good.
Excellent. Good stuff. So what about the bridge buddies aspects of the episode? That was it was really fun because you got to pair up the lower decks with some of the senior officers in some of the pairings that were quite new. Some of them were quite obvious. But yeah, let's remind ourselves who was with who. Can you remember who they paired up with, Mark?
So I definitely remember Shax and Rutherford, but they do make sense because they've spent time together before. Yeah. The pottery lesson I found interesting, but also kind of made sense because a lot of people that are dealing with like post-traumatic stress and things like that, anger management, will turn to things like pottery to help them work through those issues. And so I thought, what a great idea for Shax to be doing pottery. And then I think Rutherford just sort of, came along.
Yeah. Have you noticed I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, though I'm sure you do, Anson Mount has just started doing pottery himself. And he does a lot of Insta lives about him making his little pottery items. And whenever I watch it, I have visions of that romantic moment from Ghost. I'd love Anson Mount around the potter's wheel.
Ooh, you're in danger, girl.
And then we had Boimler and Ransom on the little Hawaiian holodeck retreat. I thought this was very interesting because I'm not too sure I can remember or recall too much kind of Boimler and Ransom teaming up in terms of like as a B storyline or scenes where they're together. Used to get a lot of Mariner and
yes.
And Ransom. So I thought that was interesting to just explore their relationship a little bit in this episode.
I think he ended up with him because he tried to go to all the other leads and they were all, I don't know, for whatever reason, it didn't work out for him. So he ended up with Ransom.
Fantastic. And then the obvious one, I guess, would be Mariner and Freeman for a little bit of mother-daughter time, playing a very special Star Trek edition of Cluedo, or Clue, as you guys call it in the US. Fantastic.
Oh, that was so cool. And now I want that game. Seriously. Yes. Make it, Paramount. I'd buy it. Take my money.
Well, there's Star Trek Monopoly. Why not Star Trek Cluedo?
Yeah.
And finally, we had Dr. Ta'ana and Tendi on the holodeck doing some mountain climbing, which clearly is a huge shout out to Star Trek V.
Oh, yeah. And Tahana doing it? Yeah, because she's a cat and wants to climb things.
Genius.
This was genius. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're a lower decker, Mark, in this hypothetical situation. Mm-hmm. Who would you choose as your bridge buddy from all of Star Trek? Any series, animated, live action, current, old. Who are you spending some time with and why?
Oh, this is getting into favorite character territory. So I'll give you a couple. So, and this is weird because it's just stuff. It's not necessarily stuff I'm interested in, but just would like to hang out with this character. So we'll just go with that. I would say TNG, I'd be with Geordi. Jordy and I would be down in engineering, working on warp field, whatever, harmonics or whatever we need to do.
Be very careful. Be careful with that program if you're working on that with Jordy. He'll start coming on to you.
Oh Lord! Isn't it getting hot in this room, Jordy? Shouldn't we remove our shirts? No, okay. It's a Leah Brahms scenario. And then I would say the other person that just immediately came into mind, and this is something I hadn't thought of, so thank you, Calvin, for the question, is Dr. M'Benga.
Interesting.
I find him fascinating as a character. Whenever he's on, I'm intrigued and I want to know more. I don't know. And that literally just came up organically from your question. It was like, okay, so who on Strange New Worlds? And it was the first in my mind was M'Benga. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, M'Benga. Yeah.
Love it. I think that's great. I mean, I'm probably a lot more predictable, and I would probably spend some time with Jadzia Dax because any excuse, quite frankly. And that could be, an activity sciencing the heck out of something and coming up with some, solving some problem as a way to kind of decompress and do something challenging with my mind.
Yeah.
Or we could just be in Quarks or in the holosuite together, having a really good old drink and a laugh and a gossip. And that's the beauty of Jadzia. Yeah. She's down for all of that.
Well, you saying that reminds me of my dad, who liked to he was a fisherman, he still is. He fishes and he would go fly fishing. And then I see M'Benga going down to that station and going fly fishing, and I'm like, oh, I've done that with my dad. Like, I could go fly fishing with him and just talk like in the stream. And that was so off the wall too. I'm like, what an interesting sort of hobby. I wouldn't have expected that because you haven't seen a lot of like fishermen in Trek. I guess Sisko was the last one, right?
Yeah, Jake Sisko on the holodeck.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Ben.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Was there any other occasions apart from in Emissary, the pilot, where we saw them fishing? I think that was it, wasn't it?
Weren't they on that wharf again at some point, or no?
I can't. If they were, the memory Kelvin is failing on that one.
You got Riker and Picard on another wharf in Picard season 1. But they weren't fishing. But that looks like an excellent fishing spot. So I'd imagine in my headcanon, Will Riker is also a fisherman.
Okay. You've now got me thinking when you said Picard and Riker on a wharf, I've now got Worf saying, and I will make it a threesome.
Oh, and he could, because he's got the 2 poles.
Oh, rods.
Oh, man.
We really need Amy or Christos here with us to police us, really.
Our poor listeners.
Absolutely. Apologies, people, if you're easily offended. Okay, well, I'll make it serious. And just kind of finishing off with this concept of a bridge buddy. I have been fortunate in my career that I have had really good mentors and buddies that I've had to look up to and who have taught me. And yeah, one of them, she was actually my student training officer when I was a trainee health inspector. And she guided me all the way through university towards the end of the degree program. She got me my first job. She helped me through to becoming fully qualified. And she was my manager for many years. So I just want to say a big thank you to Sarah Delaney, who is not a listener because she's not into Star Trek. But for the record, she was my bridge buddy. And I love her very much for it.
And on that note, I want to give a shout out to supervisor I had at my previous job, almost 10 years ago now, a little over 10 actually. His name is Len, and he's somebody that definitely is so inspirational as just a human being outside of the workplace. Just somebody that looks to the best in people and challenges people to believe in themselves more than they might necessarily. And he was somebody that gave me opportunities when nobody else would give me opportunities. And he had my back when other people wouldn't. And he believed in me. And that believing in me helped propel me through my career at my last job and is propelling me in my current career, because I think, when I'm in certain situations, I'm like, oh, so what would this supervisor do in that scenario if he was dealing with this? And because we had worked together for such a long time, I'm able to pull from that and sort of use it going forward. And I'm really lucky. And Len is a listener. I don't know if he's caught up, but he has listened for a long time. So thanks a lot, Len.
That's great. We all need these people. And I would really encourage any listeners who are like, oh, I don't have a bridge buddy. There are voluntary mentorship schemes out there, and it might not be someone you directly know or work to, but it could be someone you speak to online and things to support. But that concept of helping lift you up and see the best in yourself, it's something that everybody needs. So I'm delighted you've had someone like that in your life, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, so the story itself, obviously, it's Lower-Decks, it's a romp, it's comedy, it's all the way through, but the drama of the episode revolved around the Pakleds, as it did in season 1 and 2. And it turns out that the captain of the Klingon ship Chata, Captain Dog, was in league with the Pakleds, which seems to be quite a dishonorable thing to do in itself. But looking back in the parallels with other Star Trek, this is not the first time we've seen Klingons doing the dirty behind closed doors. We've had the Joras family scheming with the Romulans in Redemption. And then also as well, it got me thinking about the cloaking device. The cloaking device doesn't seem very Klingon, does it? Like the kind of stealth sneaking up on people. You would expect Klingons to go for an all-out frontal assault. So, yeah, I just wondered what you felt about the drama of this story. Did it fit?
Oh, I think it was definitely on brand. And this isn't the first time that the Klingons have used cloaking. I mean, they've always had cloaking, have they not?
Yeah, no, they have, but it got me thinking when we were thinking of kind of treacherous Klingons and this kind of, behind closed doors, that the concept of a cloaking device to the Klingons doesn't seem very Klingon, even though they've had it since the original series when they got off the Romulans.
Well, they do have to decloak in order to fire. So they're meeting their prey or whoever, face to face at that point. So I think they can, they can get away with it in that regard. But yeah, I was reminded of Gowron, actually. Not his eyeballs, but just it wasn't Gowron eyes, although they were large. Just the captain himself just seemed very Gowron like, and I like that sort of thread of characters that are reminiscent of characters that we may have seen in TOS, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, TNG, whatever. It's kind of cool that throughout the franchise there are these sort of archetypal characters that you can go back to the well and maybe, this character is a little bit like this character. I know they do that a lot when they're building shows. Like they try to find like the Spock character, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like the Klingon character, but it was very Gowron-like.
Yeah, I liked the throwback to TNG's A Matter of Honor, where, if the captain is being dishonorable, then the first officer can stand up and challenge him to the death. And it was kind of just casually in morning conversation with the lower deckers that, oh yeah, I think someone's going to get killed today, and then I'll be asked to be first officer.
Yeah,
I just thought that was great, that was just a normal morning breakfast conversation for them. Right, well, let's have a look at some assimilations and regenerations for this episode. So, listeners, to remind you, the assimilations are things in the episode that we love and we want to assimilate. Regenerations are things that didn't particularly land too well and we want to throw it back and regenerate. So, Mark, do you want to start us off? What have we got?
Yeah, so the on-screen episode title was actually written in Klingon. I still don't know why they did this, but I do think it was a cool nod.
Yeah. It makes you think what it would have been if they went Vulcan.
Their language is very pretty.
Yeah,
Very
and then we'd have it down the side of the left-hand side of the screen rather than.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a vertical screen grab rather than horizontal. Love it. I was thinking, actually, is this the first time that we've had an episode title in non, shall we call it, Federation standard in English? I think the only other one I can think of is DS9's Inter Armen Emen Silent Leges, the Latin episode in Times of War, The Law Falls Silent, which is the one just before the 10-part finale. I don't think there's any others, is there?
I don't know. My memory's not so good, listeners.
Going through the Rolodex. That's the one that stood out to me. But I think it's cool. And I think it's a really great way of referencing that Star Trek is so rich that here we have another language that we can put in a written form and even call the name of the episode that, and everyone will just get it, and it's fine. And it's not something that needs over-explaining.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Something else I wanted to assimilate were the Klingons joking about the Vulcans at the beginning when they said to Ma, why don't you go and work on a Vulcan ship and trim your bangs and stand about saying avoid death and cower, which is clearly a slur. Klingon slur on live long and prosper. So I just hilarious. Lower Decks is so good. It's so funny.
Well, I think what makes Lower Decks so funny is that it's written by fans that love passionately the show, which is Star Trek. And all of their humor comes from this place where they're never punching down. And they're always sort of in on the joke with you. And I love that. That's what makes the show funny. Had they gotten another writing team to come on and write just jokes, then I don't think it would have come from such a positive place, probably. And I don't want to see a Star Trek show where they punch down on like other Star Trek shows. I don't like it when they do it on podcasts. You know, I'm like, can't we just love the thing that we love without having to punch down on it?
Yeah, I agree. And it's when you listen to other podcasts that don't have that same culture that you think, oh, this is a bit harsh.
Yeah, it turns me off.
Just
not into it.
Yeah. While we're on about language as well, I thought the kind of 10 forward mess hall, whatever we're calling it on the Cerritos, the Keishon scene where they're talking in Tamarian, and then Boimler offends Keishon and he says, look, it's hard to lose weight when you can literally replicate any food that you want.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was such a great scene.
It's so true. If you had a replicator, you'd just be ordering like really fine, rich food for every meal. You wouldn't just go up to it and say, I'll have a salad.
Calvin, I disagree. Which brings me to my assimilation.
Oh, wow.
And I would like to assimilate Mariner and Rutherford's choices of meals. Which Mariner, if you noticed, had a taco salad in one of those edible bowls. Yum, 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 yum. And Rutherford had a delicious looking burrito. Yum, 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 yum. So I'm all about Taco Tuesday every day on my ship. So yeah, that's what I'd be having. I wouldn't be having this filet mignon every day. No, I'd be having my burritos, my quesadillas, chimichangas.
Would you really? Oh, wow. I think it's a difference in culinary. I would be going full French. I'd be on the cheese, the pate. I'd basically have gout if I was on there. I'd be like Henry VIII. Wow. What else have we got? Any other assimilations?
Let's see. Oh, the Pakleds. The Pakleds. I mean, it's almost like this is one of those things where, yes, whenever we see the Pakleds in Lower Decks, they're ridiculously dumb. And when their alarm goes off and it's red alarm, I just lost it. It's just so funny. and you show the lower deckers in there, and they're just not really knowing what to do. They're just sort of sitting there in an emergency scenario, not doing anything. And I think, though, this is one of the few times where Lower Deck really hits it on the head, because I don't think that if we were to see Pakleds in a live action show again, they would be any smarter than these the Lower Decks versions, because this is the Pakleds from Pakled Planet. They are just the Alpha Quadrant's just dumbest species, and they're hilarious.
Yeah, there's something so beautifully simple about that joke of it just saying red alarm, but it's the way it's the way the computer even speaks. It's hilarious.
Red alarm. Red alarm. Like, what?
Oh, amazing. My final assimilation for this episode is, and again, this is such a, you know it if you know it as a fan. Casual viewers wouldn't even get this. But the way they're all running around the ship and reporting to duty on the bridge, all in their leisure wear, which they've done so many times in Star Trek, whether, you know, when they've come off the holodeck, or even on Generations when they're all in the Age of Sail kind of outfits. And I don't know if you noticed, it was such like a background extra, if you can even have an extra on an animated show. The Beverly Crusher and Deanna Troi exercise outfits that they were. There was a little ensign running around dressed in the Deanna Troi workout outfit.
Oh, I love that.
It was just brilliant. It was just such, it doesn't mean anything, but also it means everything as well. So very much a great Easter egg. Have we got any regenerations? It's hard to get regenerations from Lower Decks. Everything's just so good.
Yeah. I did not have any regenerations for this episode. I watched it and I was looking for assimilations and regenerations, but I just found assimilations.
Yeah.
Who's the creator?
Mike McMahon.
Mike McMahon. Yeah. If you're listening, Mike, thanks.
Bravo, Mike. I think the only regeneration I can get is just me being greedy and wanting more. You know, this episode really teed up the fact we were going to get T'Lyn joining Starfleet, which ultimately means, you know, she's going to be on the Cerritos. And we had to wait an entire year for T'Lyn to show up again. You know, so we were kind of expecting her to show up at the beginning of season 3, and it wasn't until the final episode, or as at time of recording, the last episode of Lower Decks that we've seen, where T'Lyn arrives again. So a bit of a regeneration that it took us so long to arrive again.
It doesn't make sense to me for Lower Decks to only have 10 episodes. It's not like they have to build a sound stage and hire lighting people and all this stuff. Like, it's so much more cost effective to do animated. I mean, if you think about it, the first season of Prodigy was 20 episodes. Why don't we get a darn Lower Decks 20 episode? Like, come on. We can totally. So that's my regeneration. We need more episodes.
Yeah, I think if that's the best we can do, we're doing okay. And then again, it's a regeneration, but not really, because it comes from love. I adore the Vulcan ships that we had all throughout Enterprise, and to actually see the Vulcan cruiser in this episode, it was so beautifully animated. But it got me thinking, would we have these Vulcan ships in this time period, considering them from that design is from 200 years earlier? And if Vulcan is now part of the Federation, wouldn't there just be Starfleet ships? So it's not like you see Earth ships or Andorian ships. So why have we got a Vulcan cruiser?
I disagree. Because I think, you know, like, the Vulcan Science Institute's still going to be a thing in spite of the fact they're part of the Federation. I think that the Vulcans would still have their own, maybe not giant fleet, but fleet of ships. Same with the, you know, Andorians. They'd probably still have ships. We just haven't seen them. Like, I don't remember in TNG or Deep Space Nine seeing any ships, and that's probably why the Vulcan cruiser looked like that.
We did. Do you remember in Unification, the T'Pau, that was the destroyed ship, but we saw the Vulcan ships being escorted and then obviously got blown up by the Romulans at the end because they were hiding the invasion force. So I think that was the only time you hear about a Vulcan ship.
Well, the T'Pau was kind of too dumb. It lacked any kind of imagination. It was just like a what do they call it? The kit build ships. Yeah, they just took some parts and like made a random ship out of it. It didn't have their cultural stamp on it.
No.
And I would argue that the Vulcans probably have well, if it still functions logically, let's continue to use it kind of a thing. And they would probably hang on to some of their ships a lot longer than maybe Starfleet would, and they would continue to update. But I think Vulcans would probably have it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it thing.
Yeah, and I suppose Vulcans have the longevity in their own lifespan, so maybe the technology in their ships last a little bit longer too. Yeah, love it. Thank you. You've resolved that in my head, Canon. Yay! Right, well, trivia. I mean, we call it trivia. This is literally a collection of Easter eggs, quite frankly, in the episode, which is all what Lower Decks is all about. I've already stolen the thunder from our first one with Wej Duj's being translated into 3 ships for obvious reasons of the episode. So what else have we got, Mark?
Well, that Easter egg I actually thought was going to be Latin or something. I didn't know that it was Klingon. So thanks. This episode was nominated for a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation. That's odd.
I'm not too familiar with the Hugo Awards. I don't really know what they're used to celebrate. So, but an award, a nomination is a nomination. So well done.
Yeah, dramatic presentation.
Yeah, I think in brackets it has like short presentation afterwards.
Okay.
So it's like a subcategory, but I didn't want to kind of diminish the nomination.
Yeah. Well, I guess if The Martian can win an award for best comedy movie, then this counts, I guess. Which, yeah, they try to pigeonhole shows and movies into certain categories because maybe the field is quite wide with submissions.
Interesting. I love when you get kind of the continuity across Star Trek. So this next trivia here, I'm so here for it. So just in casual conversation on the Klingon ship, they talk about the Battle of Klak-de-Kel-Bracht, which was originally name dropped in DS9's The Way of the Warrior. And it was talking about a kind of Klingon-Cardassian battle from ages ago. And then later, you hear Brent Spiner, actually, when he was Arik Soon on Enterprise, talking to the Augments about Klak-de-Kel-Bracht, which we find out is the Klingon translation of the nebula that the Federation call the Briar Patch, which is where the Baku live in Insurrection. So
wow,
it literally knits together Insurrection, Lower Decks, DS9, and Enterprise. So it's a quadruple threat of a piece of trivia. Love it.
That is amazing. And again, if you know, it enhances the episode, and if you don't, it doesn't detract. It's fantastic.
And that's the thing. It really does. Things like this really enhance my viewing because it doesn't add anything to the story, but it just makes it a lot more genuine.
Well, Mariner's line, "We have replicators. Why is there a chef? That's just shady," is not only funny, but it reminds us of the finale of Picard season 3. Why did the Titan have a chef?
Absolutely, a funny chef, albeit, and rather a good helmsman in the end. But yeah, why do we have chefs?
Yeah, well, I thought of Enterprise did, but Voyager did have a galley kitchen. for and that was supposed to be with the captain's private dining area. So
Absolutely.
she may have had a chef on staff.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Push your own buttons, say your own food. I think I will let Enterprise off for having chef because they didn't have replicators. They were like simple. I think they call them protein resequencers. So they were like very dumbed down. The rest of it was handmade. And Voyager was all in. This was in addition to replicators in efforts to save energy and with the replicator rations. So Voyager also gets a pass for having a chef, but modern Starfleet vessels, what the hell? Why would you do it? Okay. We also saw Captain Freeman. I think this was the first time we saw it in Lower Decks, but she was wearing the navy blue Cerritos t-shirt, obviously the shortened version of Cerritos, and that is the massive callback to the disco t-shirts that we had on Discovery when they're all doing their exercise and running through the corridors. So that is another fantastic piece of trivia and indeed merchandise, because those Cerritos t-shirts are available to buy. So if you're interested in dressing up as a lower decker doing your exercise, go and get yourself a Cerritos shirt.
Do they have any that just say enter?
And what is it? Or prize?
I think it should say enter.
Yeah, do you know what? I always thought on the Discovery ones that it should have said disco on the front and then very on the back. And I think that would have been better than just having disco.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can see them as they run towards you. And then if you look behind as they run past, you'll see very. Anyway, that's just me in my alternate life as
somebody's going to make that now and steal your idea.
Well, as long as they send me one, I'm fine with that. Unless they make millions and millions of pounds, and then I'll be time stamping this episode and saying, "Excuse me." Any more?
Well, I noticed this as well. The Julius Caesar quote from Dorg. "Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war," is a callback to General Chang in Star Trek The Undiscovered Country. And regenerate that.
Too trivia. Obvious?
Yeah, too on the nose. And how many Klingons are really reading Shakespeare? I didn't really. It took me out of it a little bit.
Well, quite a few, apparently. Did you see years and years ago, they translated Hamlet into Klingon as a book? I mean, I don't know anyone who's actually read it, but it was a thing, and it sold, and it was done. My final trivia, and again, just such a casual throwaway line, is when they're playing the board game, and Mariner mentions about a sniper rifle which can shoot through walls. And that's a direct reference to DS9's Field of Fire with Esri, where she summons Duran to find the murderer. And they use the TR-116 rifle that has the little transporter built into it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's just, I'm so glad other people notice these things. Wonderful. So a great episode, I think, altogether. What are your final thoughts on Wej Duj, Mark?
Oh, again, I'll mention I'm so relieved, not only that it was a Lower Decks episode, but it was a good one. So past me that threw it into the watch list, thank you. I really enjoyed the rewatch.
Good stuff. And as I said at the top of the episode, I really feel Lower Decks were really at its strongest at this point in the run. I Excretus, the episode that precedes this, is my favorite Lower Decks episode, and to come on the back of that episode for another absolute belter of a story, just bravo. A fantastic episode and a fantastic shore leave addition to our little series. So, Mark, where are we going next week? Is it time to get the rainbow flags out?
Girl, next week, we are going to have a very special episode to celebrate the start of Pride Month around the world. we'll be taking a look at some of our favorite LGBTQI plus moments, characters, themes, and episodes from all across the franchise. So, well, get out your, I guess, mimosas, girls, because we're going to have a little, kiki next week.
Can't wait. This is so much fun, and obviously so important as well. We all know Star Trek's troubled history with representation in this minority group, and for us as well. So cannot wait to start talking about some of my favorite moments next week. So yeah, a little bit of Amy's homework assignment. If you want to kind of join in, make sure you start watching and looking out for these representations, and you can drop some messages in the BQN Collective as well about some of your favorite moments to see if they make it onto our list. We would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, to continue our discussion over there. You can tweet your thoughts to @AllGoodPod, and please make sure you follow the network on Twitter and Instagram @BQN Podcasts. We've also partnered with our friends at Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching the master feed. So, Mark, where can people find you when you're not having to take the captain's targ out for a walk and to open its bowels?
Oh, Lord. Oh, I couldn't do that. No, not to an animal. I liked the targs. So, well, because I'm not doing that, I will have time to be on the BQN Collective Facebook page. You can also find me on Twitter @MarkWhite207. If you become a patron of the network on Patreon, you can listen to my show, It's Green. And starting on June 5th, you can listen to my show, Cinema Z, which I have a couple of really awesome co-hosts with Matt and Laz, and we laugh a lot talking about some of our favorite movies. And you don't have to have seen the movie. You can just tune in for the discussion, really, because it's just a lot of fun. And Kelvin, where can people find you when you are not with tropical drink in hand learning all about authentic Hawaiian culture?
Oh, lovely. When I'm not doing that, you can find me on Twitter and or Instagram @Kelvin's Timeline. But more easily, you can find me in the Facebook group, the BQN Collective, where we're dropping silly memes and commenting on everyone's posts.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching BQN. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like Galaxy Class, Infinite Diversity, Union Federation, History with the Szilagys, What's the T-Bev, Trexperts Quiz, The Captain's Couch, Bargain Bin Gamer, and Cinema Z, a film review and discussion podcast launching on June 5th.
At this time, we would like to thank our associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and Tim Cooper. Special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and for our very own Mark White for our beautiful artwork each and every week.
If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. We'll add you to the Hive Mind Facebook group so you can enjoy It's Green, Amy's Math Moments, and other network perks. With a monthly subscription of $5 or more, you can join our meetings on the Hive Mind Roundtable discussion on the second Saturday of each month. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us as we continue to search out
all good things.